Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Lisa, and I wanted to share a word that was our prophetic word given to Holly L. Moody. The title is Satan's False Signs and Lying Wonders, and this was posted March 23rd, 2019. And this is the word. As I was praying on April 25th, 2000, I began to see in my mind a picture of the Lord. He was sitting on a rock, and groups of people of all ages were gathered around him. They all seemed to be laughing and talking together. I felt joy and peace and happiness as I viewed this scene. At times the Lord would reach down and bring a child onto his lap. Or he would reach out and a baby would be placed into his arms. He would then gaze down into the face of the baby and speak softly and tenderly to the baby. At other times, someone would draw close to his side, and he would place his arms around them and draw them closer to him. An angel approached the Lord. The crowd before the Lord parted to allow the angel to draw near to the Lord. A silence fell over the laughing, joyous crowd as the angel stopped before the Lord and began to speak. From the way this angel was dressed, I sensed immediately that this was a warring angel. Being a warring angel and well aware of the coming battle plan of the enemy, he spoke with a strong sense of urgency and even perplexity in his voice. He was very concerned. "There is work to be done," the angel said to the Lord. "Why do the people only sit here idly? These are dangerous times. The people should be doing battle in prayer and in the Spirit. Instead, they sit here at your feet, laughing. They are completely unaware of what is even now transpiring in the courts of hell." With great concern in his voice, the angel asked, "Why are you allowing this?" Before continuing the vision as a sidebar to that conversation, I had the impression the angel and the Lord had been in each other's presence numerous times and had many conversations with one another. What the angel said did not sound disrespectful or challenging at all. I could feel how he was feeling, and it was a genuine question in the midst of such perplexing opposition to come. The Lord gazed with love at the angel before him. "Before I answer your questions," the Lord replied, "take this child of mine and show them what is being planned by the enemy." Both the angel and the Lord then turned their heads and stared at me. "This will be too much for her," the angel protested. "Take her and show her," the Lord repeated. The angel bowed his head to the Lord, then turned towards me. I began to back nervously away as the angel approached me. "Where are you taking me?" I asked the angel. "To the enemy's camp," the angel replied. "Go with him," the Lord instructed me. I felt very nervous and afraid, but allowed the angel to touch me. As soon as the angel touched me, we were in darkness. I felt fear engulf me. "Fear not," the angel said to me, and instantly the fear vanished. The darkness seemed to dissipate, and I discovered that the angel and I were in what appeared to be a great court. A man was sitting on a large throne, and before him were gathered all types of creatures and men. This court had the appearance of a cave. When I first viewed this scene, I felt stunned. I'm not sure why. It was like something rebelled in me at what I was seeing. "Who is that man on the throne?" I asked the angel. "And who are the creatures and men gathered before him?" "That is the accuser of the brethren and his armies," the angel replied. I then realized that I was in the presence of Satan. When the angel informed me that this man was Satan, the fact that he was sitting on a throne amazed me. Later, when I prayed about this aspect of the vision, I felt that the Lord said that Satan was trying to copy everything that was God's in heaven for himself. Satan was speaking, and I heard him say, "This will be our strategy." He then got up from his throne and went to stand in front of a large map on the wall behind him. As I stared at the map, I became aware that it was a map of the entire world. It is very hard to describe this map. The map wasn't actually pinned or hanging on the wall, but it was in front of the wall. But it was like I could see it from all angles. And also I could see like air waves, wind currents, the tides of the seas, etc. I could also see the hemisphere around the world, moon, stars, planets, etc. I really have no words or way to correctly put down the appearance of this map. Satan began to divide the world into sections. Then he called out some names. I saw the creatures and the men gathered before Satan part, and very large and strong-looking angelic beings approached Satan. I saw 4 of these mighty-looking angelic beings. I could sense the power of these beings and sense the evil and wickedness of that power. A hush had fallen over the crowd. "Who are these beings?" I whispered to the angel who I was with. The angel I was with seemed concerned. "They are Satan's princes." Satan began speaking again, and he was assigning sections of the world to each of these princes. "You will need your armies," Satan said to them. "Choose whoever you will. All is at your disposal." The large beings then began to pick and choose who would be in their particular army. This was by no means orderly. There was a great deal of arguing and bickering, etc. When they were finished, they all turned back to Satan and stared at him. "Each prince will teach you our strategy to deceive and to destroy and to slay mankind," Satan said. "Go with them." The princes and their armies began to exit from the presence of Satan. The angel and I began to follow one of the groups. They went into what appeared to be a schoolroom. The prince went to the front of the room and began to instruct his army on how to deceive, destroy, and slay the people in their particular section of the world that had been allocated to them. The angel and I then went to each classroom. The same plans and strategies were being taught in each classroom. By the same plans, I don't mean each class was teaching the exact same thing. What I mean is that each class was very thorough in what it was teaching and on how to apply what it was being taught. In some of the classrooms, they were studying political leaders, their families, homes, lifestyles, etc. were being closely scrutinized. I felt very frightened and helpless, very overwhelmed, as I saw and heard how very thorough these lessons, for lack of a better word, were. Nothing was left to chance. Every area of these political leaders' lives were being dissected and investigated and studied. Demons were being assigned on how to attack and influence and control each of these political leaders, their families, and even their friends and co-workers. Nothing was left to chance. Nothing was overlooked. The books they read, the radio stations they listened to, etc. Everything was being discussed. The enormity of all of this was absolutely mind-boggling to me. This also occurred with the religious leaders. It was the religion classes that frightened and shocked me the most. In these classes, religions of the nations were being studied and discussed. Even New Age and occult, Wicca, tarot, etc. were being discussed. Buddhism, Hinduism, etc. were being discussed. The Bibles and books and other writings for all of these religions were being read and studied. Each denomination of Christianity was being studied. The Bible being studied was the major source of information for these lessons. This was truly horrifying and shocking to me that demons were reading and studying the Bible, and it was all for the intent to twist what was written and to seek ways to misinterpret, misrepresent, etc., it to Christians. The demons were discussing ways to dilute the gospel. They were discussing ways to incorporate major beliefs from all the religions into one big acceptable gospel for humankind. Some of the demons in these religion classes were ordered to infiltrate churches, were being taken into actual churches, and were watching how the people prayed, worshipped, sang, etc. They were studying how messages were being delivered to the congregations in numerous churches. They were studying the individuals who were used in the operation of the gifts of the Spirit. These individuals were followed around constantly by assigned demons, who watched and listened to everything these people said and did. The friends and family members of these individuals were also studied. The demons discussed ways to drive wedges, etc., between those people who were truly being used of God and the people they went to church with, and even how to cause these people's own pastors and spiritual leaders to lose faith and confidence in these people who were used in the gifts of the Spirit. I felt so angry and frustrated and helpless as I saw and heard how this was to be accomplished, and how it had already been initiated in many, many congregations, and how it was largely succeeding. Many of these religious demons, for lack of a better word, were being taught how to sing in churches, how to dance in the Spirit, how to pray and teach. I felt at times as if I were going to vomit, as I witnessed many demons in these classrooms practicing how to worship the Lord and how to be a Christian. Seeing a demon dancing before the Lord is so awful and so sickening that there are just no words to describe it adequately. Some of these more major demons could also work signs and wonders and even miracles. Some of these demons were also being taught how to be Christ. This was being done by actually studying the scriptures. Seeing some of these demons acting and speaking like Christ shocked me. Speechless, seeing them reading the Bible was like an abomination to me. In some of these classes, even UFOs and aliens were being discussed and how to deceive people through these phenomenon. There were classrooms where food and dress and slang words, yes, slang words, were being studied. Crops were being studied and discussed. All of this was just so vast it overwhelmed me. Suddenly the classes began to leave the rooms. The angel and I followed them. They congregated back in front of Satan. "Report," Satan said. "How will we deceive, destroy, and slay mankind?" One of the princes came forward and began to outline their plans and strategies to Satan. The people want signs and wonders and miracles from their religious leaders, the prince said. We know that our enemy will be, and has begun already, to grant this unto his children. We will slip in with a counterfeit move and deceive many. We have taught our armies how to mimic, worship, praise, and looking and acting like a true believer. We will give unto our armies the ability to work signs, wonders, and even miracles. But while all become focused upon these outward manifestations, others of us will begin behind the scenes to dilute the message of the gospel. We will accomplish this partly through speaking to the people about God's true nature. We will allow the people to create God into what and who they want Him to be. I'm going to have to stop here and I'll continue in the next video.